Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What an election, what a result across states, across whether it be for the assembly polls or the by polls. Today, for the next 1 hour, we're going to be focusing on Maharashtra. A big win, but you already have Congress leaders who are raising concerns over EVMs. On the other hand, some stunning sweeps by not just the Mahayuti, but it's been spearheaded literally by the BJP that, remember, after the Lok Sabha polls was dissed. We're going to look at what does all of this mean for the MVA. Good evening again, I'm Sneha Koshy. Allow me to take you through the headlines first. 200 and counting, Mahayuti led by BJP sweeps Maharashtra. BJP emerges as the single largest party, betters its 2014 tally. Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar score their best. Maha Vikas Aghadi decimates the Maharashtra Assembly polls. The entire MVA is less than the Shinde Sena score alone. It means no opposition party has won even 28 seats required to get the leader of opposition post. The saffron sweep in Maharashtra irks the Maha Vikas Aghadi. The leaders now question credibility of the results, while Uddhav's aide Sanjay Raut accuses Mahayuti of election manipulation. Says kuch to gadbad hai. Congress's EVMs rigged allegations also make a comeback. Wipeout exposes chinks in the Aghadi camp. Congress leaders blame Uddhav Sena for the Maharashtra loss. Say his party contested seats that were Congress bastions but ended up losing most of them. Aghadi not united after all. JMM-led India bloc wins. Jharkhand retains the state. BJP with the anti-infiltrator plank fails to win. Priyanka's charm offensive works wonders in Wayanad as she becomes the latest Gandhi to enter parliament with a massive poll victory in Lok Sabha polls. By polls, betters her brother's victory margin. After the Lok Sabha debacle in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath holds on in the by polls, leads in 6 out of 9 seats in the state. Mamata Banerjee proves her invincibility once again as TMC wins 6 out of 6 seats in the Bengal by polls. Aam Aadmi Party still in pole position in Punjab. BJP manages to retain most of the seats in Rajasthan, Assam and Uttarakhand.
कटेंगे, एक रहेंगे तो नेक रहेंगे।
हम एक रहेंगे तो सेफ रहेंगे।
Ladies and gentlemen, a big win for Mahayuti, a stunning sweep, decimating the rivals, a decisive mandate. The Alliance is leading in 229 of the 288 seats versus 54 of the state's 288 seats for the opposition that is left with not even the strength to have a leader of opposition. BJP's best ever performance in the state, sweeping 131 of the 149 seats it contested. But what does this mean for the MVA? Remember, this absolute decimation comes after the high of the last Lok Sabha elections, where Congress had the highest strike rate in Maharashtra, even within its allies, catapulting its position to prominence, sweeping, in fact, winning 13 of the 17 seats in Maharashtra, to being now restricted to 17 of the 101 seats in assembly it contested. In an election where it was big on the questions of who will be the real Sena and the real NCP, has the state now decided it? It's Sharad Pawar's party's lowest performance. And what does this mean for MVA, for Congress, for Sena and for NCP? Before we go to our panelists, let's listen in to the big reactions. All right, I'm being told we'll get in the reactions in a bit. But let me introduce our panelists first. T.S. Singh Deo, who is a former Deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, joins us as well. I'm also being joined by Aarti Pagaonkar, who is a BJP spokesperson. Very good evening to both of you. I'm also being joined by Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, who's for the Congress.
उद्धव जी आखिरी के दिनों में जो हिंदू मुस्लिम एक पोलराइजेशन दिखाई दिया, खुल के बात कर रहे थे, बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, आपको लगता है
ये कुछ नहीं चला, क्योंकि बेकारी तो कुछ चीजें ऐसी होती है कि जो सेक्युलर होती है, जैसे बेकारी है, महंगाई है, वो सेक्युलर है। सभी को महंगाई की मार पड़ रही है, सभी को जो बेरोजगारी है वो सता रही है, तो ऐसे कुछ नहीं।
उद्धव जी एकनाथ शिंदे यांच्या शिवसेनेच्या जवळपास 55 जागा आलेल्या आहेत. त्यांचं असं म्हणणं आहे की या निकालातून बाळासाहेबांचे विचारांचे खरे
पहिली गोष्ट अशी आहे, पहिली गोष्ट आहे की इथेच पहिला मुद्दा असा आहे की 2.5 वर्ष होऊन सुद्धा न्यायालयातनं आम्हाला निकाल मिळत नाही. तो निकाल मिळण्याच्या आधी निवडणूक घेतली जाते. अजूनही आमच्या नावाचा, निशाणीचा, अपात्रतेचा निकाल लागत नाही आणि त्याच्या पलीकडे जाऊन ही निवडणूक घेतली जाते. त्यांना चिन्ह आणि नाव देऊन इथेच तर मोठी गफलत आहे. मग शेवटी विश्वास ठेवायचा कोणावर? बरं ऐका एक मिनिट. त्यांना म्हणा की आता पहिलं देवेंद्रच्या हाताखाली तुम्हाला काम करावं लागेल, तर पहिलं तुमचा बंगला कोणता तो निवडा.
मान्य नाही, अनाकलनीय आहे.
नाही, मी निकाल मान्य नाही म्हणजे अनाकलनीय आणि अनपेक्षित आहे.
पण लोकसभेचे निकाल मात्र इंडिया आणि महाविकास आघाडीने स्वीकारले होते. तेव्हा
म्हणून हा निकाल जरी अनाकलनीय आणि अनपेक्षित असला तरी न्यायालयाने तो मान्य करावाच लागतोय ना. आम्ही अमान्य असं मी म्हटलेलं नाहीये की निकाल अनाकलनीय आणि अनपेक्षित आहे, पण तो निकाल लागलेला आहे. आणि इकडेच अनाकलनीय आणि अनपेक्षित ह्या शब्दाचा तुम्हाला नेमका अर्थ कळेल की 4 महिन्यामध्ये लोकसभेमध्ये लागलेला निकाल एवढा बदलू कसा शकतो. असं नेमकं या सरकारने असे कोणते दिवे लावलेत? रोषणाई केले, त्यातले पैसे तर गेले, पण असे कारभारातले कोणते दिवे लावले?
महानगरपालिकेची आहे, मुंबई महानगरपालिका
तारीख लागले का?
आता
बघू ना.
शरद पवारांशी बोलणं झालं का? दिग्गज नेते बाळासाहेब थोरात, यशवंत शरद पवारांशी किंवा मग काँग्रेसच्या बड्या नेत्यांशी
नाही, अद्याप बोलणी झालेली नाहीये. मी आता पहिल्या प्रथम आपल्याशी बोलतोय आणि आपल्या माध्यमातून मी जनतेशी बोलतोय. पहिला आम्ही अमुक करू, त्याच्यानंतर तमुक करू, अशा रणनीत्या सांगितल्या जात नाही. शेवटी मी आज परत सांगतोय की आजचा निकाल हा पूर्णपणे अनपेक्षित आणि अनाकलनीय आहे. तुम्ही स्वतः माझ्याशी वेळोवेळी बोलत होतात. तुमचं सुद्धा रिपोर्टिंग जे होतं ते साधारणतः हा निकाल अनपेक्षित वाटावा असंच होतं. आणि राज्यभर शेतकऱ्यांमध्ये असंतोष आहे, महिलांमध्ये एक असुरक्षिततेची भावना आहे, बेकार आहेत ते सुद्धा असेच आहेत, महागाई वाढते. या सगळ्या गोष्टी लक्षात घेतल्यानंतर प्रत्यक्ष चित्र दिसत होतं. सभांना सुद्धा प्रचंड गर्दी होत होती आणि मला असं वाटतं की आमच्या सभांना प्रचंड गर्दी होत होती, लोक ऐकत होते. मोदीजींच्या सभेला अरे काय ऐकायचं, आम्ही ठरवलंच आहे तुम्हाला निवडून द्यायचं म्हणून खुर्च्या रिकाम्या होत्या. लोकांचं मत असो, मला असं वाटतं, मी बोलू का तुम्ही बोलता?
बोला.
हा
उद्धवजी,
नाही मला असं वाटतं की आमच्या सभांना प्रचंड गर्दी होत होती, आमचं भाषण पूर्णपणे ऐकत होते.
What I think is that, the rallies that were conducted by Maha Aghadi, it has a good and a huge response. But at the same time, the rallies that were conducted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi had very few people and there were empty chairs also.
म्हणजे रिकाम्या सभांचे व्हिडिओ फोटो सगळे येत होते. त्यांचं भाषण चालू असताना लोक सभा सोडून जात होते.
In fact, the videos and photos have gone viral in social media of Prime Minister Narendra Modi while doing rallies. Empty chairs were there. People were living in midway. Those videos have went viral.
आता याच्यामध्ये नेमकं खरं काय ते आपल्या सगळ्यांचे 17C फॉर्म हे राज्यभर तपासल्यानंतर कळेल की त्या 17C फॉर्म मध्ये मतदान किती झालेलं, त्याच्यानंतर टक्केवारी वाढली असेल तर गफलत आहे.
एका बाजूला शिवसेनेला घेतलेल्या जागा आणि दुसऱ्या बाजूला माहीम असेल, वरळी असेल, वांद्रे पूर्व या राखलेल्या जागा, यावर तुमची काय प्रतिक्रिया?
राखलेल्या जागा आम्ही राखलेल्या आहेत आणि हरलेल्या जागा आम्ही हरलेलो.
विशेषतः माहीम ही जी जागा होती, महाराष्ट्राचं तिथे लक्ष होतं,
आमची जिंकलेली जागा होती ना, ती राखली आम्ही.
धारावी के टेंडर को लेकर आप लोगों ने काफी विरोध किया था, लेकिन अब राज्य में इनकी सरकार बनने जा रही है. अब धारावी को लेकर अभी क्या कुछ करेंगे?
पहले धारावी के बारे में यूएस गवर्नमेंट क्या भूमिका लेती है वो देखनी पड़ेगी. ठीक है, मला
योजना को लेकर आपने अभी कहा किस तरह से महिला सुरक्षा बेरोजगारी ये बड़े मुद्दे हैं, लेकिन आज ही प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करने के बाद उन्होंने टच करते हुए ये कहा कि हमारी योजना पर सवाल खड़े कर रहे हैं, पर अपने मैनिफेस्टो में भी कहीं न कहीं ये योजना लागू.
हाँ बिल्कुल दी थी, इसलिए मैं अभी अपेक्षा कर रहा हूँ. चुनाव आयोग ने रोक लगाई थी, अब चुनाव खत्म हो गए हैं. उन्होंने तो 2100 रुपया डिक्लेयर किया है, तो कल से शुरू करें. हम इंतजार कर रहे हैं. चला धन्यवाद.
Well, that's Uddhav Thackeray, who's addressing his first comment conceding defeat in this particular case. Big ramifications, though, for what really lies ahead at this point. Let's just look at what he has said. Drastic difference between Lok Sabha results. There's no reason for such a turnaround in 6 months. People didn't turn up for Prime Minister's rallies. How did empty seats turn into votes? That's the question Uddhav Thackeray is asking, very much in lines of what really the Congress has also been questioning at this point. But let's take this to our panelists at this point. I'm being joined by T.S. Singh Deo, who's a former Deputy Chief Minister for Chhattisgarh, Arati Pagaonkar, who's a BJP spokesperson, Bhavya Narasimhan, who's with the Congress as spokesperson, Dr. Suraina Malhotra, who's with the NCP SP spokesperson, Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist, as well as Dr. Uday Nirgudkar, who's a senior journalist. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Well, first, let me just go across to you, T.S. Singh Deo. First, let me just ask a very simple question. Few hours into the results, everyone knows it's a big mandate, a decisive mandate, a huge sweep. But how do you look at this for the MBA, for the Congress? You'll have to unmute yourself, Mr. Deo. All right, I think we have some issue with T.S. Singh Deo. My team will try and fix this for now. If I can very quickly get in Bhavya Narasimhamurthy with the Congress.
Can you hear me?
Bhavya, how do you look at what's happened in Maharashtra? Ms. Bhavya?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, Ms. Bhavya.
Definitely shocking. The results of Maharashtra is definitely shocking. We were expecting much better than this. We were expecting to win. And the way some of the very strong seats, senior Congress leaders and in both our alliance have lost, and some of the BJP who themselves were not sure, those seats have been won. So as usual, the way Election Commission is working, there is something really going on there. We do not believe this is a free and fair election. Wherever there is free and fair elections, it's like every time the most important states, and
we
are
have an
very
issue
sure
with your
they
frame, and we'll
manipulate.
try and fix that. Meanwhile, I've got T.S. Singh Dio. So we're having a little issue with technical glitches that are coming up. But T.S. Singh Dio, how would MVA explain this? I mean, it has to be beyond technical glitches. It has to be beyond something which is absolutely temporary. This is beyond retribution. Is that how you would look at that?
Frankly, I can't explain it. My 50 odd years in politics on the ground and whichever way I've been working, I can't frankly give you a reason why this happened. As far as both the states that went to the polls and were counted today, I frankly got it a little wrong and quite a bit wrong in both the cases. In Jharkhand, I was expecting a victory from the JMM Congress Alliance, but not such a one-sided victory. And I was expecting the MVA to do pretty well and to come into power with about 150, 160 seats. We are nowhere near that, more than 100 seats behind that. So one assesses these things on the feedback that one gets from friends and associates on the ground in both the states. We see the voters, meet the people, read their body language. It didn't amount to this. And frankly, I am stumped.
But if you are saying you are shocked, I mean, look at this, Mr. T.S. Singh Deo. How are you going to talk about this within the party? How are you going to explain this to the mandate that people have given you? It was a high point just about a few months ago. It was Congress's best. It was a stunning comeback. The kind of attention that you drew even within your allies, even in the national political spectrum for that matter, brilliant strike rate. And just look at what's happened in a matter of 6 months. What would you say? Was it the Ladki Bahin that really won it for the MVA? Was it a failing of the consolidation that the opposition was not able to do? Was it the whole narrative from batenge to katenge and a twist that came in towards the end from the Prime Minister of ek hai to safe hai? There are so many things that can come up, and of course, as journalists, as pollsters, we're going to look at this. But what would you say to this as you look back for the 6 months? You may not have an explanation to why MVA went so well, but what do you think went so bad? But what do you think worked so brilliantly for the Mahayuti that was quite on the back foot?
You mentioned Ladki Behna. So it did have resonance on the ground. I was in Maharashtra and one could get the feedback that Mr. Shinde has improved upon his standing from earlier. But even that was not transferable into this sort of a result. There's no doubt that he had picked up in terms of perception as a leader, but not translating into 230 odd seats for the alliance. Nothing that anybody was doing justifies or explains this sort of a margin.
So we've
I'm at a loss.
Okay, T.S. Singh, I think you're in a hurry to go somewhere. We've completely lost you at this point. Thank you for your initial few moments. Thank you very much. Dr. Uday Dirgudkar, if I can get you in, look at what's happening. We've had T.S. Singh Dio, who's quite a stalwart himself, come and say that, listen, I can't explain this with my 50 years of career. I just don't know what went wrong. I read it completely wrong.
Let me tell you the size and depth of the tsunami. Depth of the tsunami got Prithviraj Chavan as well as Balasaheb Thorat both out of the house now. It reduced to such an extent. I'll just read out few numbers so that our viewers will understand. 1980, Congress was 186 in Maharashtra. 1985, they got 161. 1990, 141. 1995, 80. 1999, 75. And then 2004, 71. 2019, 42. And now 16, 17. That explains why they are. That's what precisely I'm saying. Look at in each corner of the state, they are routed. not just them, the entire opposition. Mumbai, 1/3 success to the opposition. Uttar Maharashtra, they are reduced to 1/8. Paschim Maharashtra, which is Western Maharashtra, 1/3. Konkan, 1/4. Vidarbha, 1/5. Marathwada is the only savior where Mahayuti is 60% and they are 40%. That's what confirms. And bickering for the ticket distribution, every now and then, fight between Nana Patole and Sanjay Raut. Look at the arrogance even today. He is saying, I'm not accepting this. Gadbad hai, EVM hai. How many days you are going to talk about all this? Please belt up very fast. Congress should go on their own because this is not the biology or chemistry going to work. I'm sure a shrewd politician like Devendra Fadnavis will declare the local self-government elections in next 1 month's time. And you will be caught unaware as opposition. फिर दिल्ली से लेके गल्ली तक इनकी सरकार रहेगी.
Okay. Before I go on to Mr. Ashutosh, very quickly, if I can go to Aarti Pagaonkar at this point. Aarti, Miss Aarti, BJP has pulled this off tremendously.
Yes.
Where we had Devendra Fadnavis call himself a modern Abhimanyu. In fact, let's just very quickly listen into what Devendra Fadnavis said because that says so much more. Very quickly, let's listen into that reaction.
ऐसा है, मैंने पहले ही कहा था कि मैं आधुनिक अभिमन्यु हूँ, चक्रव्यूह को भेदना जानता हूँ. हमने चक्रव्यूह को भेदा है और ये कोई मैं पहले भी कह रहा हूँ, वापस कह रहा हूँ, इस विजय में मेरा बहुत छोटा उसमें मैं समझता हूँ कि सहभाग है. एक ये हमारी जो पूरी टीम है, इस टीम ने इस विजय को लाया है.
So, Miss Aarti, of course, it's a given of what has happened to BJP in this and how it's really won the mandate in such a decisive way. But what's your biggest takeaway in this election? Why has BJP or Mahayuti been able to do what it has done?
So it is very firstly, I would like to thank all the voters of Maharashtra who has given a clear sweep and a people's mandate to BJP and allied Mahayuti. Okay, now as Devendraji said that he is a modern Abhimanyu and he is so humble. Maharashtra is blessed to have a humble leader like Devendraji. One thing is that. Secondly, I would like to say that it is not only our leadership but all the allied parties had very good communication and coordination among themselves. Thirdly, there was a common minimum, a program where we talked about development. That was the first agenda on which, whether it is Shivsena, whether it is BJP or whether it is all other allied parties, they were very clear that Mahayuti is going to contest this election on the agenda of development. Thirdly, transparency. Okay. Now, when I talk about Devendra ji, Ladli Behna jo scheme hai, we talk about that. Definitely, it has played very important role, but it is not the only thing because of which today BJP has got that mandate. Okay. So, along with that, if we see farmers, if I talk about youth, if I talk about the projects, so what Uddhav Thackeray ji has done, he was always been a speed breaker to the development of Maharashtra state. So all the projects which were basically, coming in when Devendra ji was chief minister, when Uddhav ji got a chance, okay, when he was a CM for 2.5 years, he made it a point that all the projects will go away because he was not creating that conducive environment for the companies to come in and do the projects. Thirdly, when I talk about Uddhav ji...
Okay, let me get Bhavya at this point. Miss Bhavya,
from your father.
Miss Bhavya, please respond to this. I mean, one of the big pegs in your election was really this, that there's no double engine in this. Everything is moving towards the BJP ki sarkar. Everything is being moved away from Maharashtra, but that's literally the contrary of what the BJP or the Mahayuti has been claiming all this while. People giving it back to them very clearly with a decisive mandate. Ms. Bhavya, you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Oh, sorry.
Miss Bhavya, you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yes, please go ahead.
you know, this double engine sarkar, the phrase BJP has given itself to laud itself about their state government performances and the central government performance. It has failed miserably in most of the states, including Karnataka. We all saw last year, Karnataka.
But we're talking about Maharashtra.
One second, let me come to that. In whether it was in Karnataka and many states, the people have given the mandate that there is nothing called double engine sarkar and the BJP is only eye-washing people, especially in Karnataka, because we have been denied of our rights, whether it is in tax devolution or whether it is in getting a GST compensation in many ways.
Miss Bhavya, I think let's talk about Maharashtra because airtime is very less on television. I still have to go to other panelists.
It's the same. Like I said, we are really surprised and shocked at the results that we have been getting. And considering the parliamentary election which happened in the earlier this year, the same Maharashtra did not want to give BJP a mandate. They did not vote for Narendra Modi government. It's such a contrast to see today's results with the parliamentary election results. There is no explanation. Just now, an expert was
Miss Bhavya
saying that. Yeah.
Miss Bhavya, before I go to Ashutosh, I want to ask you a question, Miss Bhavya. Does this time's result also speak about the organizational strength of not just the MVA, but Congress in particular? Because at least in Mahayuti, you had a party like the RSS to steer ground meetings. Do you have an equivalent party in your alliance that can work on the ground the way your rival does?
We do not want an RSS. We're totally against an organization like that, which actually runs the government from behind the screen. We do not want any organization like that. We are with the like-minded people. We have formed a coalition. Yes, we have won in most of the states. In some of the states, we have lost. But I don't think we need anything like RSS, which is ideologically bankrupt and which is totally against the idea of India. I don't think
you didn't get my question. I wasn't talking about RSS as an ideology. I was talking about the organizational strength. But let me get in Mr. Ashutosh Mishra. Mr. Ashutosh Mishra, that same question to you. What would you say would be the biggest learning for Congress really? Because look at what's happened, quite honestly. Even the Congress is saying they're completely taken aback. They just don't know what went wrong. Whereas you have a Devendra Fadnavis who's calling himself as a modern Chanakya, who's been able to break, a modern Abhimanyu who's been able to break the Chakravyuh.
So the learning here from Maharashtra is that regional satraps, like let's say a Devendra Fadnavis, if they connect with the people, then the voters are willing to listen to them. I mean, we were hearing Uddhav Thackeray talk about empty seats in PM Modi's election rallies. Modi paid for that when Congress and MVA did well in the Lok Sabha. And in fact, if even today, if you look at what is the bigger story, is that Modi's fear-mongering of Roti, Beti and Mati being under threat in Jharkhand has been rejected by voters. Because there BJP was the leading light, but it did not have a regional satrap like Devendra Fadnavis, or for that matter, allies like Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar. You were talking about RSS. The same RSS till the other day was blaming Ajit Pawar for the bad result of Lok Sabha. What will it say now? Now, success has many fathers, and RSS will of course try to claim credit for what has happened in Maharashtra. Why didn't it click in Jharkhand? RSS was there in Jharkhand also. So that is the question. And the danger signal here is actually for Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar. Because if you remember, Amit Shah had said that in 2024, we will have a Mahayuti ki sarkar, but in 2029, it will be a BJP sarkar. So these regional parties which have allied with BJP, in the past also we have seen like the black widow spider, it eats them up. And now it's the batoge to katoge, NCP and Shivsena ko pehle BJP ne bata, और अब दे उनको काटेंगे. So they have to be on their toes about their future, because Maharashtra Lok Sabha elections, Rahul Gandhi maybe made a better appealed more to the voters, and that's why MVA did better. And in this case, as you are rightly pointing out, they did not have MVA did not have a face of a regional satrap who could sort of appeal to the voters. And that is one of the reasons why it looks, because even now
I think
Mahayuti is
that's an
claiming,
important
as you said,
messaging as
largely
well.
Mahel
A
Yoga
very
and
strong
development
organizational
issues.
setting minus the regional players. But here's the thing: if you talk about, say, Devendra Fadnavis, you have a Sharad Pawar in the other camp. It's been his lowest. We obviously have Dr. Suraina Malhotra. But before that, very quickly, let's just listen in to what Pawan Khera has spoken. His first reaction, Congress's first official reaction to the defeat.
हमारी चिंता का विषय है लोकतंत्र, हमारी चिंता का विषय है चुनावी पारदर्शिता, हमारी चिंता का विषय है कि क्या इतने साल इस तरह से पिछले दरवाजे से सरकार बनाई, सरकार बनाने के बाद एंटी इनकम्बेंसी का रिवर्स हो सकता है क्या बीजेपी के लिए? सारे दांव पेच वहीं खेले जाते हैं, बाकी जगह लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड चलने दी जाए. जहां लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड होती है वहां के नतीजे आपके सामने हैं. जब हम बार बार चुनावी प्रक्रिया की बातें करते हैं, चुनाव ईवीएम्स की पारदर्शिता की बात करते हैं, 99% बैटरीज की बात करते हैं, तो चुनावी प्रक्रिया को और पारदर्शी और लोकतंत्र को और मजबूत बनाने के लिए ये बात करते हैं. और चुनाव आयोग से हम बार बार बोलेंगे, आज तक शेरो शायरी के अलावा हमें कुछ सब्सटैंटिव जवाब नहीं मिलता.
Dr. Suraina Malhotra, my question is to you. So we heard a while ago Uddhav Thackeray, he raised these questions. What happened in 6 months? How could they turn around the elections? Nothing could have changed as such in 6 months. He raised this question. You heard Pawan Khera, again your alliance, say the transparency is issue, EVMs is an issue, and we keep repeating this, and there's no level playing field. But look at the performance for your own party. It's the lowest ever for Mr. Sharad Pawar. Would you also make the same aspersions as your allies are making?
See, that is absolutely very shocking. I mean, nobody would believe that such a results can really come after the spectacular display of the results in Lok Sabha. I mean, in Lok Sabha, people had come forward, people had voted, and it was a result which was really, I mean, very good. People wanted Vikas, and how is it possible in such a short time the whole thing can change? Now, come to think of it, first of all, anyway, before saying anything, congratulations to the people who have won. Okay, it is after all an election. In election, somebody wins and somebody loses. And definitely we'll have to all sit down and work out, I mean, what went wrong. But one thing I would say that the factor of Hindutva towards the end, that was coming quite a lot. They were very false narratives which were going on. There was like katege to batege, batege to katege. Then there is the vote jihad. Then our secularism was labeled as something that we are for the Muslims only and Hindu khatre mein hai. Now, ye sab baatein towards the end, these all things started coming up more.
But here's the thing:
has got a negative
you
effect.
all failed to counter that successfully. That's what the MVA tried to do. If you are saying that this is what they did and this is what they polarized, clearly MVA miserably failed to consolidate.
And towards the end, I mean, there were so many videos being circulated that Rahul Gandhi is like for the Muslim, for like favoring terrorism and all that. So, yeah, these are the things which a lot of things came up towards the end. The issue like vote jihad, something which Pawar Sahab said, which Pawar Sahab had never said in Pune. Pawar Sahab in fact had questioned that, do you think I would say that it's a vote jihad for some Hindu people voting? No, but it was said that, oh no, he made a statement. So such small things kept, such things kept on happening. And I definitely would say
so
that
are you saying you did not have enough strength
it did come
to
up
equal or counter the strength your opposition, your rivals had in terms of countering the fake narrative on social media? But social media is now an age-old practice. It's time for a very short break. We'll get into a break. On the other side, we'll continue and look into this whole allegation of what the Congress is whipping up in terms of lack of transparency in EVMs. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at what the Maharashtra elections mean for the MVA. Well, Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, if I can come to you. Ms. Bhavya, there's no issues or concerns over EVMs and tampering when it comes to the Jharkhand elections. But for the Maharashtra elections, that's being raised again. What do you expect of people who are listening to you, of voters who are listening to you, to make out of what these claims seem to come for every defeat that the party is faced with? Ms. Bhavya, if you could, can you hear me?
There is some audio problem. I couldn't really hear your question. Can you please repeat it?
All right, Ms. Bhavya, if I can repeat my question to you and you can hear me clearly. My question is, every time you have a defeat, the party raises the EVM and the transparency issue. But there is a victory that is never repeated. For example, in Jharkhand, we are not hearing that. In the states where you won earlier, we did not hear that. For every defeat that is raised. Now, my question is, what do you want people who vote for you, or who probably may vote for you, or who will not vote for you? How do you want them to perceive? Wouldn't they perceive this as a bogey or piggy riding allegation?
We said, yes. Yes, we did the allegation saying BJP is tampering with the Election Commission of India, which is a known fact. In fact, in most of the instances, but we didn't say they're not smart or they're stupid. Of course, they need to show that, we have been giving a level playing field. We're not doing, they can't go on tampering with the EVMs or with the Election Commission throughout the country in every elections, right? It's only smart of them to give us some of the seats to make sure that they don't tamper anywhere. And then that is where it is really important, like a Maharashtra, like a state like Maharashtra, they use it. It's as simple as that. Yes, we said they tamper, but we didn't say they're stupid. They're smart too. And Jharkhand, yes, there was a level playing
Ms. Aarti,
and the
please
narrative
respond.
that BJP played in Jharkhand, saying Ghuspetiya and all of this, that didn't really work. Because what do you mean by Ghuspetiya? Forgive my Hindi. Because Jharkhand is not surrounded by any international border there. Either this ex-chief minister,
No, that's true. That's true, Ms. Bhavya. There's no doubt that the anti-infiltrator plank of BJP has lost in Jharkhand. There's no doubt about that, and we have said that during our election coverage as well. But that's not the question we are asking right now. We are looking at MVA and Maharashtra. We've already looked at Jharkhand. There was another panelist. But here we are looking at the EVMs and the bogey that the Congress is raising. So, Ms. Aarti, please respond to what Ms. Bhavya has said.
No, basically, see, Congress had nothing to say for what has happened in Maharashtra. Because, see, when we talk about MVA, Mahavikas Aghadi, the parties who are allied in Mahavikas Aghadi, they themselves are not, there is no coordination, there is no communication between them. And that is why we have seen conflict right from the beginning. Okay. Secondly, it is people's mandate. So I request Ms. Bhavya to come and have a ground report of Maharashtra. It is people's mandate. Okay. Now, some time back when we were listening to Uddhav ji's press conference, he himself said that कि मोदी जी के सभा के लिए कुर्सियां खाली थी. So people had decided to vote in favor of BJP-led Mahayuti, the day elections were announced. So, and it is not it is because people have chosen Vikas Niti over the speed breaker politics. Okay? Because when Uddhav Thackeray was chief minister, what he has done in that 2.5 years, he was able to
Dr. Uday, but before that, Mr. Ashutosh, please respond and I'll go to Dr. Uday.
You turn off.
If they allow me to speak, if they allow me to speak, if they both allow me to speak, if they allow me to speak,
please,
People who did not want Narendra Modi but wanted BJP
if they allow
and
me
its
to
alliance
speak,
in Maharashtra, people did not want Narendra Modi as a prime minister,
if they
but
allow-
in 7 months, they want BJP to rule Maharashtra.
All right, Miss
So you
Aarti
mean people
and
of
Miss
Maharashtra
Bhavya,
against Narendra Modi
the
but not
rallies are
BJP?
over,
Is that what you're saying?
the polling
If-
is over.
Just
So
imagine-
there's no need to
just
cut
imagine-
into each other. We'll all have a civil conversation.
Imagine-
Dr. Uday, please come in.
They are
Dr. Uday,
talking
please come in.
about they are talking about empty chairs in Modi rallies, and in spite of that, this is the performance. अगर वो रैली में कुर्सियां भरती तो इनका क्या हाल होता, जरा पूछ लो इनको. मालूम है क्या किस खाई में गिरे हैं? They don't know what they have fallen. Their two big leaders have lost. They have been reduced not even to form the opposition leader. Don't blame others. Look into yourself first. In 2 months, you will have to face local self-government. 26 districts, you are practically zero or just one seat in that. Please start working on that. Don't blame others and EVM. This is not a first election of EVM. Some 10 elections have taken place and BJP has lost some of them. So don't bother, don't worry. EC, Election Commission, Supreme Court,
No, so
Bombay
here's the question,
IIT,
Dr. Ashutosh.
all
What does
have
one make out?
concluded this is
You
the
know,
best
I mean,
EVM.
it's Congress at the end of the day. It's not a party that is a newbie into elections. It's the grand old party, as all of us call Congress. Now, for every defeat for the last few years, they have been raising this EVM issue. They've even gone to the court. Court has
Kuch
made
nahi
some
hua.
scathing remarks on this. Election Commission, of course, they say is biased.
We know what happened in Chandigarh.
Is there a concern that, listen, they may be making a joke out of themselves when it comes to voters and how voters are going to be looking at this? Or
Sneha,
do they perceive this differently?
Neha, I have another
Dr. Uday.
point to make. Next elections will be with delimitation and 33% reservation with women. The scenario is going to be completely different. And from 186, some 3 decades back, Congress is reduced to 1/10, which is 16 seats. That's what they need to belt up, find faults with their system and try to work on that rather than pointing out fingers at EVM and empty chairs of the PM's rally. अगर पूरे भरे हुए होते तो शायद मुंबई में 1 सीट नहीं नसीब होती आपकी.
Okay, Ms. Bhavya, you have a right to respond. Mr. Ashutosh, I'll come to you after Ms. Bhavya.
Dr. Uday, when I spoke about people not giving mandate to Narendra Modi, I didn't speak about the empty chairs in his rallies. I spoke about the mandate they gave in the results of parliamentary elections just 6 months ago. And it just changed. So the people of Maharashtra
No, but he was
want
referring to
BJP
what
to
even
rule.
Congress leaders
Can I
as well as
respond
Uddhav
to you?
Thackeray has
But they
said.
don't want Narendra Modi's
Madam,
government
you are
to
misreading
take
the
over. Is that what
you are
Can I
misreading the
finish?
Lok Sabha
Can
elections.
I please finish? I
You
gave
are-
you your time. I gave
you
you your
are-
time.
you are misreading the Lok Sabha election
Let me finish,
results.
Dr. Uday, please. And even when media says Congress is making a joke of themselves, sorry to say this, we are worried about the democracy. We are worried about the free and fair elections that this country deserves. And when a grand old party, as we are called, if we are raising this concern, ECI has a responsibility to respond.
Please
But they're not
understand.
doing it. They're not responding in the way which is justifiable, which is convincing at all. Every time we raise this issue. And it's not like the Chandigarh
Dr. Uday,
mayor
please
elections.
respond.
You all know
Please
what
understand.
happened. You all know what Supreme Court stand was.
Supreme Court has given a verdict on this.
Don't
Election
act
Commission has given
Dr. Uday,
their
don't act
opinion
like
on that.
there's
Mumbai IIT has given an opinion on that.
Okay,
And
okay, Ms. Bhavya,
कांग्रेस का
give you the
जोक
time.
कांग्रेस का
You've
जोक
raised
मीडिया
questions
नहीं
to
कर रही
Mr.
है.
Uday. I think he has the right to respond. So allow him.
शिवसेना के स्पोक्स पर्सन कांग्रेस का मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. Please understand that first.
What?
शिवसेना के स्पोक्स पर्सन आपका हर रोज मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. I'm sure you would have heard so many times what Sanjay Raut
Okay, I'll
said.
translate that
By
into English
talking
if
loud
required.
on the channels, you are not going to get votes.
Okay, I'll translate that into English. What essentially he's saying that even Shivsena leaders are poking joke or making fun of the Congress. That's your allies. He's talking about Maharashtra and your allies.
Do you know what happened in Meghalaya? The chief minister, the then chief minister with whom you were in alliance, did not want to share a stage with the Prime Minister during the elections, if you remember. That is the amount, that is the extent they went.
All right, from
to joke
Karnataka to
about your
Meghalaya
BJP party.
to Maharashtra.
So when it comes to alliance, all of this is common. They didn't even want to share. They didn't even want to share a stage with Prime Minister because of Manipur issue. If you remember the Northeast state.
Okay. If I can come in at this point and get Mr. Ashutosh. Mr. Ashutosh, apologies, you had your hand up since a while. Please go ahead and make your point.
Can I respond to Lok Sabha
Mr.
election
Ashutosh,
results?
Mr. Ashutosh.
Okay.
And,
Ashutosh?
first of all, yeah. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
So you were speaking about EVM, so I would just like to refresh the memories of our viewers. First of all, as far as India Alliance is concerned, Akhilesh Yadav has said it in Lok Sabha that they will question EVMs even when they win elections. So let us be fair to them on that. Number two, coming to what courts and IIT people have said, then Elon Musk has said that EVMs are hackable. So that is no, and Supreme Court, we know, often reviews its own old decision. And I would also like to remind them of a research paper which was done by a Ashoka University professor, and it was regarding 2019 Lok Sabha elections. And ultimately that professor had to resign from the Ashoka University because of this paper. The paper said that, and it was about EVMs and how in close contests between BJP and Congress in the Lok Sabha election of 2019, wherever there was a BJP state government, BJP won. It didn't happen where it did not have a government. And his study was that at the closing hours of the voting, usually the number of votes going to BJP suddenly went up. And his, if I could say the word allegation, was that there was something rotten in the state of Denmark or in the government officers who were handling those EVMs. So it is not that it's the first time that these EVMs have been questioned, and there are various ways of this can be done. It could be done. But let's be fair also. As the Congress spokesperson was saying that in Jharkhand they have won. So this is something which is still the jury is still out on EVMs, and India Alliance has said that it will oppose it even when it wins the elections. And so you cannot blame what Pawan Khera is saying right now. And of course, BJP will claim that everything is fair. And as I said earlier also, yeah, of course, the schemes offered by BJP regional setups were pretty, they attracted votes. You cannot deny that.
All right, Mr. Ashutosh Mishra.
You cannot deny the fact.
Okay, Ms. Bhavya, my last question to you, Ms. Bhavya, what's the way out now? It's a loss of face, not for just the Congress, but for MVA as a party. You have three strong parties. One of the parties that's been having a mixed pack of results, but nonetheless, they managed a big comeback in the Lok Sabha elections, again decimated to one of their worst performances. You have your two other allies, strong regional players, again decimated. Is the MVA going to even manage to stick together in Maharashtra? Because all guns are already out.
So to analyze this election results, it is too early. The results are just out in another 24, 36 hours. I'm sure we will sit together and figure out what went wrong and why this is happening, how much EVM played a role, or maybe in a seat sharing, whatever the problems are or whatever, the differences were, we will sit together and figure it out. And India is a democracy. This is one defeat. We accept it, but that doesn't mean there is no hope, right? Like BJP, which wanted 400, which was very confident.
Okay, we leave it at that for now. A big sweeping victory definitely for the Mahayuti, but there's a long way for the MVA, not only to hold its alliance together, they'll have to look into it whether they need to whatsoever, but also about how three big parties have had one of their most miserable moments. Thank you very much to all of our panelists at this point. T.S. Singhdeo had joined us a while ago. Ms. Aarti Pagaonkar, Bhavya Narsimhamurthy, Dr. Suraina Malhotra, Ashutosh Mishra, as well as Dr. Uday Nirgudkar. Thank you very much for your time. Up next at 7 o'clock, we'll be looking at what's Mumbai's mandate and what this election means for Mumbai.